Hey everyone, welcome back. So, when you look out your window or take a walk in the woods and you just see absolutely everywhere so much life. I mean, from the tiniest bugs to massive trees, it can feel completely overwhelming. Well, in today's explainer, we're basically going to act as biological detectives. We're going to figure out exactly how the incredible, seemingly chaotic variety of life on Earth is actually beautifully organized into a really neat blueprint. By the end of this, you're going to be able to classify organisms like an absolute pro. Let's get into it. We've got a fantastic explainer lined up today. We're going to speed through Earth's biodiversity, India's endemic hotspots, how evolution ties into grouping criteria, the hierarchy of classification, scientific naming, and finally, a quick revision quiz to get you exam ready. Kicking things right off with Section 1, Understanding Earth's Biodiversity. Let's start with the sheer scale of life on our planet. Now, have you ever wondered why some crops can completely survive a brutal drought, but others just wither away? Or how certain microscopic marine algae are literally out there releasing most of the oxygen you and I are breathing right now? It's wild. Every organism out there plays a highly specific role. Fungi, for instance, silently convert dead waste into fertile soil manure so we can grow our food. Nature is just this giant interconnected web. And just look at how crazy adaptation gets depending on the habitat. On one hand, you've got camels just chilling in the scorching, waterless sands of the desert, and on the exact opposite extreme, polar bears are totally thriving on freezing Arctic ice. Life literally finds a way, and it takes on countless shapes to do it. So what do we actually call this massive variety? Biodiversity. Definitely jot this definition down in your notes. It's the immense variety of living organisms and life forms existing across countless habitats on Earth. And biodiversity isn't just nice to look at. It's absolutely crucial for our survival. Farmers rely on diverse crop varieties so a single disease doesn't wipe out our entire food supply. We literally rely on it for medicines, shelter, and everything in between. Moving right along to Section 2, India's endemic species hotspots. Let's zoom in on our own country for a second. India has incredibly varied landscapes, from the Himalayas to the tropical rainforests, which means we get incredibly unique creatures. Case in point, the lion-tailed macaque. Now, this is what we call an endemic species. A huge misconception students have is thinking endemic just means rare. Actually, scratch that. Endemic means a species is strictly restricted to one particular geographical region. You will naturally find this amazing animal nowhere else on Earth. Check this one out. This is the Indian pitcher plant, or Nepenthes cassiana. It actually traps and eats insects. No way, right? It's another endemic marvel, right up there with the mountain-dwelling Nilgiri tar, or the Neelakurinji flower, which only blooms once every 12 years. Because we have so many of these exclusive species, certain regions in India are recognized globally. Places that support massive numbers of endemic species, but unfortunately face severe habitat loss, are called biodiversity hotspots. In India, we're talking about the Western Ghats, the Indo-Burma region, the Himalayas, and Sundaland in the Nicobar Islands. Protecting these specific spots is a real game changer for keeping our planet's food webs functioning. All right, pop quiz time. Let's see if you were paying attention. What do we call a species that is restricted to one specific region of the world? Shout it out. Yep, an endemic species. Excellent job. But that kind of begs a massive question, doesn't it? How did all these different, incredibly unique species come to be in the first place? Well, that brings us right into Section 3, Evolution and Grouping Criteria. The crazy diversity we see today wasn't just always there. It's the outcome of a continuous process called evolution. Think of it in 4 steps. First, you get tiny, natural differences among individuals. Second, some of those differences just happen to help an organism survive better, maybe a slightly longer beak to reach seeds. Third, those helpful perks are passed down and accumulate over thousands of generations. And fourth, eventually, those changes are so huge that entirely new forms of life arise. Now, with millions of species out there, we have to organize them. A super common trap students fall into on exams is thinking scientists just group animals by how they look. But as you can see here, external features are just one of 7 deep criteria. They also look at how they eat. Are they autotrophic, making their own food, or heterotrophic? They look at internal structures, cell walls, and even dig deep into their DNA for genetic similarities. It's a highly precise puzzle. Which naturally leads us to Section 4, the hierarchy of classification. So how do we actually arrange all these pieces of the puzzle so scientists worldwide are on the same page? I want you to think of biological classification exactly like your home address. When someone mails you a letter, they start really broad, your country. Then they narrow it down to your state, your city, and finally your specific street. A biological address does the exact same thing. It starts super broad at the kingdom level and narrows all the way down to a specific species. Here is the full ladder you're definitely going to need to memorize. It goes kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, and species. As you step down this ladder, the organisms inside those groups share more and more common features. Two animals in the exact same genus are basically biological cousins, compared to two animals that only share the same phylum. All right, section 5, scientific naming and kingdoms. Now that our biological address system is built, we have to learn the absolute strict rules for writing the final line of that address, the scientific name. Listen up, because nomenclature is guaranteed to pop up on your exams. It ensures a scientist in India and a scientist in Brazil are talking about the exact same animal, no matter the local language. Rule 1, always 2 parts, genus, then species. Rule 2, genus is first and always gets a capital letter. Rule 3, species is second and is all lowercase. Rule 4, if you're typing it, use italics. If you're writing it by hand in your exam, you literally have to underline it. Let's look at our endemic Indian pitcher plant from earlier as a perfect example, Nepenthes haziana. See how Nepenthes, the genus, starts with a capital N? Then Haziana, the species, is completely lowercase. And notice that little slant to the text? That means it's italicized. That right there is perfect formatting. Zooming back out to the very top of our address hierarchy, the kingdoms, you'll need to know 2 major systems. First up is Robert Whittaker, who gave us the classic 5 kingdoms, Monera, Protista, Fungi, Plantae, and Animalia. You'll also need to remember that Plantae breaks down even further into 5 groups. But, science is always evolving. In 1977, Carl Woese used advanced DNA genetics to propose an even broader grouping called the 3-domain system. And finally, Section 6, Revision Summary and Exam Quiz. Wow, we've covered a ton of ground today. Let's lock all this knowledge in. We know classification relies on deep biological structures, not just looks. We know Whittaker gave us the 5 kingdoms. And here is an absolute lifesaver of a memory trick for the hierarchy. Write this down. King Philip came over for good soup. The first letter of each word gives you kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species. Say that to yourself during the test, and you will totally nail those sequencing questions. Let's test this out with a classic exam question. Teachers love showing unknown organisms and asking you to classify them based on clues. So look at Q. It's multicellular and grows on dead organic matter. A decomposer diet? Boom! That means Q belongs to the fungi kingdom. What about S? Multicellular, differentiated tissues, and a backbone. That skeletal structure is a dead giveaway for a complex animal. Kingdom Animalia. See? Just apply the rules. You guys have been awesome biological detectives today. As we wrap up this explainer, I just want to leave you with this thought. We've seen that every single organism, from the tiniest bacteria to the biggest polar bear, plays an absolutely vital role in keeping nature running smoothly. Figuring out how to classify this blueprint of life is really just step 1. The real question is, now that you understand how interconnected and incredibly fragile this whole biodiversity web is, what are you going to do to help protect it? Think on that, go crush those exams, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.